Okay, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. A bit of a special episode, a subsection, if you will, of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. This is Wrist Watch Rambles and Rants, brought to you by the one and only Wrist Candy Watch Club. Alright guys, so you guys know my channel. I like to be very transparent when it comes to anything in terms of paid advertisement. I don't do paid reviews, but I can do sponsored segments, and that's what I did for the guys over at Wrist Candy Watch Club. So definitely check them out. They have tons of different straps. Let me reach off screen here, grab a couple just to kind of give you guys a view. They got the TGV special here. Really nice, super affordable stuff, guys. A lot of different options. Purlons as well. But with that said, thank you to Wrist Candy Watch Club for sponsoring this segment. Another quick, Purlons. So check those out. Links in the comments below. But while we're here, guys, today's segment, I'm going to be ranting and rambling about Seiko again. And this is a really interesting one that I wanted to share with you guys. It's a question, but I think you'll find the answer if you kind of follow some of my talking points on this one. I'm wondering if now is the time to start collecting Seiko and Grand Seiko. And some of you are like, what? No, this is contrary to everything I'm reading online and chatting about in Facebook groups and in the forums and looking through the comments. Everybody's so upset. Seiko's going up market. They're charging more money. We miss the old days. Yeah, that's a very common theme and thread, especially on YouTube. Even within YouTubers that are out there that admittedly really love and collect Seiko, many of them are kind of swearing off these days, although I still keep seeing more and more Seikos on their channels. So maybe it's just more of a moral protest they're taking. But really, as a lot of collectors out there are getting fed up and calling it quits due to Seiko's general pricing increases and recent strategies, I'm seeing more than a few reasons why this transitional period in Seiko's lineage might actually be the best time to start collecting this historical Japanese brand. And some of you, what? Okay. Well, just things to think about, guys. For those of you that are old enough, think back to the 80s and early 90s when you used to be able to get a Rolex Sub between $1,000 to $2,000 used. I mean, that's what they costed. And then in the early 2000s, prices, they kind of just went up steadily, basically going for the same price as new now. Like now a used Rolex Sub costs as much as a new one, and if not more sometimes, depending on the particular model. So that's pretty crazy, right? But similarly, there was a time when Sinn, right? The German brand Sinn was a great $850 watch. And since they've pretty much close to doubled in the last couple years. And, it's one of those things. My point being through all of this is during all those transitions, I also recall the watch community crying out, about how they miss the days of the affordable steel tool watch, whether it be a Rolex, whether it be a Sinn, even to, I guess, a certain extent, Oris. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's the mainstream transition is really what ultimately always drives the prices up. And what I'm seeing is more and more mainstream releases from Seiko. So these are a kind of a random selection. You guys know I have way too many watches because I'm not a flipper or anything. I just buy them and I keep them. So I have quite a few watches out on the table right now. But I think they're a good example and a good mixture of modern Seiko, right? And some of their new releases. We got the Mini Tuna. We got the Zen Garden, Mini Turtle. We got the Seiko 5 Dress KX. We have the excellent Seiko Alpinist. We have also the Baby Alpinist. We have the Presage Sharp Edge. We got the gosh, 62 Moss reedition. We have also the Seiko Panda reedition. I guess not necessarily a reedition, but it's a special piece as well, right? It's dialing back to that lineage, and I think the nice thing about Seiko right now is they're really keying into a lot of their iconic attributes. There's less of kind of the weird, generic, kind of funky looking Seikos, and you're seeing a lot more releases for their kind of overall more refined pieces that are cool looking and great to wear. So think about this, guys. Think about Seiko 5 and how they're engaging that younger audience. Yeah, sure, a lot of us older enthusiasts remember the good old days of $150 SKXs and $350 SARBs, but many of today and tomorrow's collectors really see Seiko as aspirational pieces, from beautiful Presage models to iconic Prospex reissues, even hailing Grand Seiko for all of their technical prowess even before ever seeing one in the metal. It is actually pretty in vogue right now to be a Seiko collector or a Seiko enthusiast, and that's something that I've noticed. You guys, at my day job, everybody knows I have a YouTube channel about watches, and honestly, a lot of today's young professionals are asking me about Seikos more and more, which is pretty wild. I always kind of thought of Seiko, especially for me, I was really into a lot of the JDM stuff. I thought it was very niche, right? You think JDM Sarbs, like the green and gold Alpinist. You think of stuff like really old school SKXs with really beat up and out of shape bezels, from actually being out there being used, surfed with, and all that stuff. So, for me, of course, I came up around that, hey, really affordable Seiko part. But, yeah. It's the crazy thing is, so you think about people that are swearing off Seiko, and it's like, yeah, well, Seiko might, they might lose quite a few collectors, but it's from a much less profitable model, right? An era within their lineage. They're really gaining tons of fans at new heights within their updated international pricing structure. So yeah, they're losing a couple of people that they used to not really make a lot of money off of, honestly, and they're gaining tons of new buyers for people that are spending money, and they're okay with the markups, all right? Because they don't compare and contrast. They just see the value now. They don't think of Seiko as that department store brand with a cool bunch of JDM models that you can sneak in and get, and take advantage of the yen rate, from random gray market dealers. They see Seiko as this like cool thing. It's like, oh, it has a history. There's Grand Seiko. All the watch geeks love Grand Seiko. And then there's, the Prospex line and the Presage line, and they're great. And they can give you a lot, basically under $1,000. And they're not thinking about, well, I used to be able to spend $150 and get an SKX, right? Like now they spend $400, or I don't know, maybe they go for around under 400, but the new SKX is the 5KX, if you will, right? The people are buying those hand over fist. They keep coming out with, like, people want to buy the Street Fighter variant of those watches. So there's tons. I'm sorry, I know it's just a lot of talk and just the watches are just sitting here. So maybe I'll put some gloves on real quick off camera and start picking some of these up, just so we can get some visual goodness going. But yeah, while there are, a lot of upset fans that are groaning about limited editions turned mainstream reissues with a twist, they all kind of do have to admit that for those that missed the boat on the availability or affordability of, some of those original Halo, anniversary releases, it's a great time for them, right? Like, people were upset about the Euro Alpinist after the Blue Alpinist was released, but the people still went and they paid extra for it. And then there's going to be another one with like a bracelet that's going to cost even less. And yeah, the people that got that other one are upset, but all the people that are going to buy the new one are thrilled. So it's one of those things, again, it's a balance, right? You want to hold on, of course, to some of those other enthusiasts that you had, but you still have to catch a newer market, and that's ultimately I think what they're doing, especially with these types of watches that we're going to feature here today. So yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I guess we can start with the very popular, this guy right here. I mean, look at this thing. This is a really this hits a lot of the marks that people are looking for. Maybe not those, maybe not from a Seiko perspective, right? Like what people want from an alpinist, but from a watch perspective, this has like every trend you can think of. It has a little bit of a vintage. It has that gradation to it. It has an extended power reserve, right, from the new movement, sapphire, anti-reflective coating, good lume, good brand name because people know who Seiko is now, apart from just the random stuff that you would see at a Macy's. People have really taken the time, again, and because of those heydays where things were really affordable, they were just being praised all the time on YouTube and in articles and everything. Like, people love the Sarb, they love the Sarg, SKX, just the turtle reissue initially, right? So there's just a lot of love for these watches that have circulated, and yeah, they're capitalizing on it. And this is an outstanding model. I have on an Uncle Seiko little tropic strap here, which I really enjoy, and I wear this a lot. It's a nice kind of option when I don't want to wear this guy, which honestly, this could be the one watch in my entire collection because it does everything. It looks great. It's quite handsome, sporty, 200 meters of water resistance on a steel bracelet, black, red accents, original look, feel, everything. This thing is awesome. I love it. I really do. I have tons. Yeah, well, I didn't say tons, but I got two other Alpinists, right? I have the Sarb Alpinist, the green dial, and then also I have the SPB 089, the blue Alpinist limited edition. I love that one too, but man, this one is just infinitely more versatile than either of those, and it's great. Again, the new movement and everything, great look to it, and again, it ties back to Seiko's kind of heritage. I love that. You got the 5KX, sorry, the Dress KX, which this really appeals to, for me as like a lover of Seiko mods for so many years, that they were like, oh, we could just do that, and we could do one thing the modders couldn't do, which is scale the watch down itself. Like, yeah, sure, this doesn't look like some rich ritzy watch, but damn, does that look good as ever. And this is on a great Haveston NATO strap. It has a display case back for, people within this range that are spending this money for watches. They enjoy a good see-through case back. This thing is super stylish. It might not look super expensive, but it looks like you tried. You know what I mean? Like, it shows that you're a hobbyist. You're not just some random person that's gonna pick this up and buy this. So yeah, they're coming strong from like all these different ways. Again, hacking hand windable movement. That wasn't always the easiest thing to find. And here we go. One of the best, I think, divers in Seiko's line right now, the Mini Turtle. I mean, I don't even know if technically it's in the line. It might have been discontinued. But this thing is absolutely excellent. For me, this is the closest thing to a modern day SKX that we've had in terms of bang per buck and just overall beauty, symmetry. It's a simple, straightforward tool dive watch. Does it all. And you really can't complain about it at all. It's outstanding. If you can still find these, get one. You won't be disappointed. These are out. Like, why would somebody spend all this money on a Doxa when you could have something like this Seiko? It blows my mind. I love this thing, and I don't know why they don't get as much attention. And then let's see the Zen Garden, right? You want to talk baby grand Seiko? Dude, this Zen Garden, a little 38 millimeter dress watch. It has this cool, look at that dial. Sandy, little grainy dial. Like a Zen Garden, right? And then I just have it on this cool B&R band strap, and I paired it with a Grand Seiko buckle. Obviously, these buckles are not cheap, but man, it was worth it to kind of put this together and it just be a fun little dress watch that I can literally wear everywhere any day, and it does it. And I'm excited about the King Seiko re-release. You know, it's kind of it's like $3,300, but that has a 6L movement. I have another watch with a 6L movement, and I love it. I didn't put it here because I guess I feel like it's almost a little bit earlier on in the transition of, you know, the old Seiko versus new Seiko. And also it was, you know, pretty highly limited. So figured I'd leave that off, and just kind of represent all the snowflake-ish watches with this one. And this is super affordable, and it's small. It's what people ask for. It's symmetrical. People enjoy. Yeah, the hands aren't like, they don't shout Seiko to me. You know, there's still a part of me that thinks, you know, might have to get some modded Dauphine hands on here or something. But it's a good looking watch, and it's super versatile. Then we got, of course, I mean, come on, a mechanical tuna. How many years did we all hope this was going to happen? A mechanical tuna that's smaller, and it's interesting and looks cool, but still is quite versatile and monochromatic. Here you go. I mean, this thing's awesome. I love this. I wear this all the time. It's more of a weekend watch, just because it's so casual. Like, honestly, this, I guess, I mean, for work, I'm more on the business casual, but still more on the casual side. But this is definitely a weekend, wear a pair of shorts, t-shirt type of watch, and it just goes everywhere. It does everything, and I love it. And it of course, it has some JDM appeal to it, you know, because I got it with the kanji date, from Sakura watches. But yeah, this thing is great. It has this great DLC coat all over it, and it's just well done, well finished. It's a tool watch. It has drilled lugs. It has a really outstanding strap that's flexible, that doesn't attract a lot of dust. You have the great metal hardware that matches. This thing is great, and I've used it at pretty high impact, hard use, and it does well with that. Then we kind of get into, here we go with the sharp edge. Bam. Gotta love this. It has loom, right? Very reminiscent of the Sarb, except just finished 10 times better. Honestly, this thing is so sweet. Look at that. The buckle. People complained about the little gap on the buckle. So what did they do? They went with the Grand Seiko style buckle that has a little bit of a lip overhang to keep that gap nice and tight. Also, you just have really outstanding finishing here. Just very angular, modern, and again, quite original. It just, this shouts Seiko. Speaking of shouting Seiko, my goodness, guys, love this watch. SBDC 101, and yeah, this is just a champ of a watch. It hits all the right notes as a dive watch. It's very svelte and stark and just ultimately legible, you know, really well balanced. It does everything you need it to. And then it has all these great little fine details. Look at that. Look at those high polished bevels. Look at the polishing around that bezel grip there. This thing is just outstanding. I didn't even have to change out the clasp. Before I bought this, I actually got an extra Marine Master clasp to put on it. But then I ended up not, because this clasp, honestly, just is a better fit for the bracelet and for the look and the feel on the wrist. So I kept it. Like, again, a Seiko you don't have to mod. Like, I love that. And then to cap it all off, you know, probably the most expensive Seiko I've ever purchased. This bad boy right here, mechanical chronograph, in-house, column wheel, vertical clutch, has it all, does it all, says it all. I mean, come on, guys. It's a good time to be a Seiko collector. I mean, they have a lot of great offerings. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked the video, definitely please do hit like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Also, remember, check out Wrist Candy Watch Club. Big shout out to them, of course, at being a channel sponsor and sponsoring more content just like this. So if you liked it, hit like. If you haven't already, subscribe, and definitely see you guys in the next one. Looking forward to seeing your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure it's going to be a real bloodbath for some of you that are upset with Seiko. Thanks, guys.